Today's episode is brought to you by Warby Parker. Warby Parker is offering the listeners of the Outline podcast a free 5-day home try-on to give you the opportunity to check out their glasses. To get your home try-on today, go to warbyparkertrial.com/outlinepod. Again, that's warbyparkertrial.com/outlinepod.
The Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. The Outline. With Kevin Dwayne. The Outline. With Kevin Dwayne. This is the Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne with Kevin Dwayne.
So I can't get enough of Chloe and Halle's new album, Ungodly Hour. It's amazing to me. I'm really pleased with the direction they went. They tried new sounds. Those vocals are everything. Like the harmonies are so good. I just love the way they play off of each other. And it's great because you can tell they grew up with one another because they're sisters, obviously. And contrary to belief, they are not twins like they are on the show Grownish. That's just for the show. Chloe is actually older than Halle, just FYI, because some people think they're twins. But they just complement each other so well. I love how Chloe can have a very direct sound in the mic, and then Halle will be right there doing the undertones and vice versa. It's so good. It's so good. And these performances have been flawless in my opinion. They're two baby Beyoncés. It goes without saying, really, but they're dope. And my favorite songs on this latest album are Don't Make It Harder on Me and the title track Ungodly Hour. I just really like those songs. So kudos to them. I just love this era. It's really, really, really good. So if you haven't heard the album, listen to it. I've been posting them on my story and people have been giving their opinions on there. Although there was one person who reached out to me and they were saying that they don't get the hype around Chloe and Halle and they just don't do it for them. They don't seem unique or special in any kind of way. And I just thought that was a very interesting statement. And I can't help but kind of get in my mind about things like that. Now, I respect opinions. I personally didn't respond to the person because I'm like, what do you want me to say? It's hard to praise something and then have someone give you a negative opinion. It's kind of like, what exactly do you want me to say to you? I've already told you that I enjoy it. Do you want me to debate with you on your opinion of it? Either you like it or you don't, that's just going to be it. So I just keep it pushing. But it got me thinking about how we critique art in general. The statement that kind of made me go, was the part of they're not unique or original in any kind of way, so they don't do it for me. But not every artist is going to be unique or original. That's honestly not possible. Truthfully, when it comes to the music landscape or even in entertainment in general, there's some artists who just fill a space for a generation. You know what I mean? Like rappers aren't always unique. They aren't always different from the last. They're literally just another version for the generation coming up. So to have this expectation that every artist that comes out has to wow you and impress you in a whole different way is kind of nonsensical. In my opinion, it doesn't really make sense. There's some artists that are just filling a space for the new school. However, I disagree when it comes to Chloe and Halle. I think they're a breath of fresh air. I do think they're original. I do think they're unique in their own way. The harmonies, the vocals, the looks, it's just really, really dope. And that's what makes them stand out. But once again, that is my opinion. But I just thought that was interesting because I feel like we have these weird rules and goalposts that we place for artists, especially female artists, that we don't place on male artists, even though they're giving us the same thing year after year. And it's just, Just thought I'd call that out. But if you haven't checked out the Ungodly Hour, check it out. It's so good. I love it. So good. Also, Sunday was the season 4 finale of Insecure. And man, I've stated this so many times. If there wasn't already an Insecure recap podcast, I would be the one doing it because it's my favorite show. It is my absolute favorite show, probably of all time. And I've said this before. It's because I've never had a show that was so spot on when it comes to being a millennial and also the LA landscape where I'm from. And just the situations are just so true to life. Like I just get fuzzy all over watching Insecure. From the laughter, from the jokes, from the intimate scenes, the connections. It just does something to me that no other show has done, except for Pose. I love Pose, but Pose is a period piece. Pose was like when I was born. It's like 1986. That's the year I was born. And so it's just different. But I love Pose. It's another show that I think is phenomenal. But Insecure is just amazing. So this season in general was phenomenal to me. Season 3 was good, but season 4 I think takes the cake when it comes to like really pushing the show forward, and I'm interested to see where they go next. Now, the first couple episodes of the season were kind of dry to me. Like, they were funny. They were like, okay, cool, you guys have been gone for like almost 2 years. Yeah, we're catching up with you. It's cool, but they kind of felt like filler. It felt like they were just kind of like doing surface stuff. But the last 4 episodes like really brought the heat that the season needed and really just wore me out. So let's talk about it a little bit. Issa and Molly's friendship. I'm glad the season's over because now we have an entire storyline to work with. It's really hard to watch episode by episode and seeing all these opinions of people who don't have the full story. So it's nice to say, okay, now we have the whole kind of thing. Now it's a better place to talk about it. So in the beginning, you saw Issa and Molly. They started off with their self-care Sundays. They were fine. They were cool. But then you started seeing a break in their communication towards like episode 2 and 3, where Molly was really busy with her new relationship. She was also working a lot. Issa was busy with doing her block party. She's also friends with Condola, and they're setting this up. And it's just, they have their lives that are kind of moving apart from one another. And there was a break in communication where they couldn't quite get above that. I remember there was a scene, the first time I saw an actual breakdown was when Molly stated to Issa that she wanted to talk about what's been going on with her and Andrew. And he's like, okay, cool, meet me for dinner. She met her for dinner and Condola was there. They were wrapping up. Issa invited Condola to stay, which Molly was like, hey girl, I thought it was just gonna be us, let's talk. I saw a lot of people say Molly was the one with the problem, but I was like, but if I told someone close to me that I wanted to talk to them privately and then they invited someone else to stay, I would feel away because you're actually impinging on the time that I wanted to have with you. And I just think it's funny how everyone skated over that. Also, before you roll your eyes all the way into the back of your head, this is not going to be a Molly apology episode at all. Trust me, I have my gripes with her too, but we're just going from the beginning here. That was a moment where I was like, damn, Issa did drop the ball there when she didn't say, oh, actually, no, like she should have let Condola go so her and Molly could talk. That was number one. There was another situation where they were going to talk at Thanksgiving. They were not on the same page. Didn't happen. Issa ended up going out with her brother, decided she didn't want to come. She canceled on her. Molly made sure the pie was the way Issa liked it. She was excited about seeing her homegirl and catching up. She curved her and didn't come. Strike 2. Another situation. Molly got into it with Andrew, tried to reach out to Issa. Issa was at a concert. Not Issa's fault, but it was just another situation where she was feeling rejected by her friend that she normally talks to. All right. Fast forward, they it's just like all the beef is happening now. To before the block party, Issa calls Molly and say, hey girl, how you doing? Pretending to care about how she felt about things. Molly was like, oh girl, I'm so happy you called me. You know, I've been going through it with Andrew. Issa's like, yeah, whatever, girl. Can you do me this favor? These are all problems, you guys. And no one called that out. Everybody was so busy hating Molly that they didn't even call the fact that Issa wasn't actually being a good friend at all on her part. It was all about Molly just being this person. I get it. Issa's the protagonist. I mean, we tried to protect Issa when she cheated on Lawrence first season. We always tried to protect the protagonist. I get it. But those are marks that she missed. Now, Molly also was doing the absolute most. I actually do fault Molly more because Molly's always saying rude shit. Molly can't see outside of herself. She couldn't get out of her own head. She was very much a stubborn being who thought that people had to come to her. People had to respect her boundaries. She's very unyielding, but she doesn't respect other people's boundaries. And we saw that come to a head in the end. And I don't need to go down Molly's indiscretions because we've done that verbatim. I just wanted to, or ad nauseum really, but I just wanted to call attention to that because I know y'all weren't going to hear me if I did it episode by episode. But if you really go back and look at the show, there was a break in communication from both of them. It wasn't one person's fault over the others. There were just certain decisions that were made that just weren't smart decisions. Now, what I did see was Issa come to her own awareness before Molly did. Issa realized her wrongdoings quickly. You can see like when she tries to call Molly and she has that daydream where Molly goes off on her, that was her being aware of what would be said and who she could actually be. And what she did was she reached out and was like, okay, I'm not gonna make it about me. I'm gonna make it about you. Let's actually catch up, even though they didn't actually talk about what was really happening. But as you can see, when the show ended, that's when they brought it to their final conversation, which we couldn't hear, but let's just hope it was a conversation playing catch up on everything, especially since both of them were back at square one. I mean, Lawrence got a baby on the way with Condola, and then I believe Andrew has left Molly. Now, they didn't state it straightforward. He just asked her a question that made her think. We don't know that they actually broke up, but he did say, I don't think we are a fit. I don't think we're on the same page. And in that moment is when we see Molly have things click for her. And hence she reached out to Molly so they could talk. So next season should be very interesting. I'm very, very curious, but I love Insecure so much. I really do. Like, I love these 2 months we get every year where we're just glued to our televisions every Sunday. And I'm curious to see how many seasons we get after this though, because shows of this type typically end in the 6 to 8 area. And we're moving into season 5. I have a strong feeling personally that the show is probably going to end at season 6. I really do. If not season 5, but I have a feeling season 6 might be it, like for real, because it's like, where is this storyline actually gonna go, you know? So I don't know, but I love it. I hope you guys loved it. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments because that's what y'all do. People love to share their opinions with me, and that's okay. And there's that. On June 15th, the Supreme Court ruled that basically LGBTQ plus people can't be discriminated in the workplace. Now, I was one of the people who didn't know this was a thing. Like, I didn't know that you could still be fired or discriminated against in the workplace for being gay. And that's my own ignorance. So I was like, oh, this was a thing? Because I mean, I've been out since I was 19 years old and just out here working. And I never really considered the fact that me being an out gay man would make me lose my job. So I felt a little dense in that sense, but I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I just kept it pushing, reposted on my page. But I did notice there was some pushback from Black people in general because of everything that's going on with Black Lives Matter protests and the uprising that we're currently going through. And I get it. Like, people were saying like, oh, this seems like it's done on purpose. It's like it's separating us. They would rather give gay people rights before black people rights. Police brutality still happening, and I'm like, okay, I get where you're coming from. So I did a little bit of research because I'm like, I don't know that these are directly related. So how about this? So with Supreme Court rulings, cases are literally in place for years down there, like seriously, like a long ass time. Also, Supreme Court, they actually don't make their decisions until May and June of every year. This is why, if you look at the news, you're seeing their decisions throughout the week for different things. DACA is one of the most recent things you're seeing right now, which is happening this week. So honestly, this decision shouldn't be a slap in the face to black people because it's more of a coincidence. It's circumstantial. This is something that's been in the works forever, and I know the timing doesn't seem right, but it is not to shade what's going on. There needs to be an active case in the system that the Supreme Court needs to rule on for it to happen in May and June of each year. Also, as someone who's black and gay, it's very exhausting to constantly have to split myself down the middle and try to defend both sides. It's so annoying. And I know all the other black gay people understand where I'm coming from. It's too much. It's too much. Like, they're both a part of our identities. And yes, you see that I'm black first. I get that. It's a petty argument. I get it, but I'm still a gay man as well. So it's just tough seeing other black gay people kind of wince at the decision that's still actually benefiting them for the sake of making a statement that, once again, the world doesn't care about us, because, I mean, they don't. I get it. As black people, we still have a hard battle ahead, but we can't knock the progression on the other end because gay rights are still important. And the whole point is to, I don't know. I just want to talk about that a little bit because I see where black people are coming from with this, but I also need people to also see that as more of a coincidence and circumstantial. And yes, it does seem very ill-timed, but it's not to shade the Black Lives Matter movement. It's just the way the system works. Like, there has to be a case in place that needs to be reviewed, and they make the decisions every May and June, which that's what we're in right now. So yeah, that's that. Let's take a quick break. Today's episode of the Outline Podcast is also brought to you by Storyworth. Storyworth is an online service that helps your loved ones tell their story of their lives through thought-provoking questions about their memories and personal thoughts. Every week, Storyworth emails your family member different story prompts, questions you never thought to ask, like, what have been some of your life's greatest surprises? And what's one of the riskiest things you've ever done? After 1 year, Storyworth will compile every answered question and photo you choose to include into a beautiful keepsake book that's shipped for free. You never know what family history Storyworth will uncover. You can get $20 off today by using the URL www.getstoryworth.com/outlinepod. Once again, that's www.getstoryworth.com/outlinepod. The Outline Podcast is a weekly discussion of what's trending in pop culture, the LGBTQ plus community, and a piece of encouragement for everyone. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by yours truly, Kevin Duane. If you enjoy the content and would like to support the show, you can do so by rating and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, following, mentioning, and retweeting the Outline Podcast on Twitter, liking the official fan page on Facebook, following, posting, liking, commenting on Instagram. Make sure you tag me, boo. And if you really want to take it to the next level, you can donate to the production, but no pressure. I wouldn't be here without you guys, so thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. So, I wanted to dedicate this show to Black women. I wanted to take time out to say, I appreciate you. Black women have been a huge part of my life, and I will always fight for them because they've always fought for me. And I know this is not the experience for everyone, and I can't speak for everyone. So I'm just going to speak for me. And I feel that we need to do more to bring visibility to women of color. We have to, because these women are the ones fighting for us. These are the women who are out in the streets, who are also being killed at alarming rates. And there's a weird erasure that's happening with them. Like, Black women get murdered and abused, and sometimes we get so lost in the killing of Black men that we don't fight hard enough for Black women. And this is just fact. This is more than opinion. This is absolute fact. And what's sad about it is, even when we have movements to push forward the narrative of Black women who aren't receiving the justice they need, is kind of counteracted by bullshit from men. And it's trash. It's really trash. For example, when Sandra Bland died, I remember that's when the Say Her Name hashtag started happening. And so when women of color were being killed and, being victims of police brutality, it became Say Her Name. But then you have men who feel like, in a weird way, that's counteracting from the full movement. So they created Say His Name, which is stupid. And now they're saying Say Their Names as a compromise. And I'm just like, we shouldn't have to do that. We shouldn't have to do that. Like, I completely understand why they say cisgender Black men are the white people of Black people. They're the white men of Black people, really, because it's okay for them to have their rights. They want to have their rights. They want their lives to be protected. They want people to fight for them. But when it comes to queer people, trans people, women, they want them to step back and focus on the greater narrative of Black men. And it's not right, because the amount of misogyny and sexism in our community, it's a conversation that we have to stop avoiding. We have to stop avoiding it. It doesn't make sense that women can be out fighting for men who actually don't respect them. It doesn't make any sense. But yet, because of their loyalty, they still do it. And I commend women for that. I commend women for not being properly loved by Black men, straight and gay alike, not being respected by us, and yet still loving us enough to fight for us in the streets. And that's noble. So I just wanted to say thank you. I love you all for that. And you deserve more respect. Black women deserve more visibility, more respect. They don't deserve the petty detractions we have when they argue or they argue for their own freedom, when they argue for their own protection, when they ask for respect, when they ask for consistent lovers, for consistent communicators. Like, it blows my mind that you can see a Black woman be with a man who, he could be cheating on her, he could be abusing her, he could do anything to her, but let that man go to jail or something happen to him because of racism, because of police brutality. That same woman will advocate to get him out. And a lot of times not even get a thank you when it happens. And I've seen this happen time and time again. So once again, Black women, you deserve so much more than what we all offer you. And I just wanted to take a moment to say that. But I also wanted to highlight some Black women in my life that I truly just appreciate. So starting off with number one, Susan. Susan was my mother. She was biologically my aunt who raised me from pretty much childbirth. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. The story changes from person to person. I'll let people argue that in their own time, but from my understanding, she raised me from childbirth. And I just want to say thank you, a heavenly thank you, because she's no longer here on earth. But for you to take a child that wasn't yours and put so much into him, for you to be newly married to your husband and bring in your nephew, and you both just, I don't know, that is a very noble thing that a lot of people wouldn't do. And I didn't want for anything growing up. I didn't. I was actually pretty spoiled growing up. They gave me everything they could: private schools, tutors, activities, everything they could. And I wasn't her child. So that was my first experience of a Black woman fully showing up for the benefit of me, to make me better, to give me a better chance at life. That was literally her goal, was to give me a better chance in this world that can be cruel, to set me up with education, to put me in a place where I could actually thrive beyond the surroundings that a lot of our family were stuck in. So I thank you for that, mama. Okay? But also, I don't want this to come across shady. I also want to thank Vicky, my biological mother, who had me. I thank her for just allowing someone else for allowing her sister to take her son because she knew she could give him a better life. Because at any moment she could have just said no, that's a hard thing to do. But there was a certain respect level there, and there was a certain desire that Vicky wanted for me to have a better opportunity as well. So I thank you for that. I thank you for, processing that and going through that, because I know it couldn't have been easy. I mean, and we still talk now, and, we're cool now. And I know that there's certain things that, come up, but I appreciate you for not interfering, because at any moment you could have easily shut it down and been like, you know what? Nope, this is my son, I'm taking him. But no, I thank you for just honestly backing up and saying, you know what? You're in a better situation now, and I'm not going to mess that up because I want more for you. And I appreciate that. So thank you. Jasmine, one of my first confidants. This is the first person that I talked about being gay to. In fact, she told me I was gay. She was like, listen, you're gay. She got tired of my shit. All the little things I would say. She's like, listen, it's okay. I love you. And I think Jasmine, because she never, ever betrayed me. Ever. Like, it was always... She did everything she could to protect me. Like, she wouldn't be friends with anyone who was homophobic. She wouldn't date anyone who was homophobic. Like, she would literally ask men on the first date, do you have an issue with gay people? Because if you do, this is not going to work. And I do not know a lot of women who will do that. I don't. Sorry, I don't. A lot of women will be like, okay, you can be a homophobe, just don't do it around them, and I just won't bring you around them. But they're not gonna compromise no dick for the sake of their gay best friend. Whereas Jasmine did this, and I've always felt like she always had a safe space for me. There was always a safe space with Jasmine, and to this day it's still there. Even like with me being in New York and her being in Atlanta, we'll talk with all that's going on with COVID and, and with layoffs and things that are happening. And she'll be like, well, you always have a place to fall here. And just knowing that is it just gives me a feeling that I can't even explain. And I appreciate her for that, just for being someone who has been a consistent confidant for me. So thank you, Jasmine. Warby, and this is not in order of importance. I will say I'm just calling them out as I think them. Warby, You know I love you, girl. I thank you just for being that spiritual friend. Like, we're here. We're here. We see each other. We see each other on a whole spiritual plane. I can say some outlandish shit to you and you get it. And you like, no, I feel you. Like, that's that. But I also thank you for raising 2 sons who respect women, who aren't homophobic, who respect gay men, who will fight for gay men, who will fight for women, but they also like, you've raised 2 amazing individuals. And for you to securely do that, because a lot of people, when they raise sons, they're so afraid of their own sons being gay that they would rather them be homophobic than having to deal with having a gay son. You were like, listen, I would rather have decent humans in the world than worry about some fragile ass masculinity. And you literally have 2 well-rounded, straight identifying boys or grown men now who are great civilians. And I see that, girl. I see that. I hope the world sees that. You did the damn thing with them. And I appreciate that. I've always appreciated that about you. But I also thank you for seeing me and seeing my soul and being someone that I could just talk to on a deeper level. So love you, sis. Christina. Now y'all know I go hard for Christina. That is my ultimate. Christina, we've been friends for 10 plus years now. And it has been one of the most amazing journeys ever. We met on one end of the spectrum, and here we are on a completely different end of the spectrum. And we've seen so much of each other. There's been so much growth on both ends. And I just appreciate you for just balancing me. You have been the one person that I've allowed to tell me the truth in a way that doesn't hurt me. Even you said truth without compassion is cruelty. And I think you're a great balance of that. You've always been able to put a mirror on me without also cracking it. How about that? And I love that I can say anything to you in complete vulnerability. Anything. I can say exactly what it is that I am feeling without having to edit it, filter it, make it PC, make it sound nice. And then we will break it down together. And I've always loved that about you. Like, words can express how I actually feel about you. If I was straight, we would be together. I don't care. If I were straight, we would have kids. And we would just do this. Seriously, I love you on that level. You are, if there is a soulmate, you would be it. We just happen to be friends. We just happen to be platonic friends, but I love you so much. And you are the epitome of a Black woman to me because of just how hard you go on everyone's rights and everyone's freedoms, and how you care so much about the betterment of people, but also you care so much about your personal growth. Like, you're always challenging yourself on blind spots and biases that you have. And I just love that because that's a hard thing to do. And I don't know, there's been a huge safety with you since the beginning. I'll never forget when my mom passed away and you didn't leave my side for an entire week. Like, you were taking off work and you were there with me. You were at the funeral home with me. You literally held me down that entire time. And my loyalty to you hasn't faded since that. It hasn't. Because of that, I made a vow to you that you may not even know about, because that was one of the darkest times of my life. And you did not leave me. You did not have to be there. And I love you for that. And I thank you for that. And there's not enough words I can say right now to even convey all that you are to me. There's not enough. There just isn't. And this is just going to have to be that. So yeah, so those are, and if you, please don't feel left out if I didn't call your name, but these are just the people who I am the closest to right now in life and I have the greatest history with and the greatest love and understanding. And I love you all. And also, Stacy, if you're listening, Stacy, I love you too. You literally have taken a big sister role in the last few years, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you calling me and checking on me and making sure I'm okay and letting me know that I always have a place to stay in Atlanta. And I thank you so much for just being in my life. So thank you so much. And just thank all the Black women who literally hold us Black men down, and you don't always get your appreciation. So I just want to take this moment right now and give you all your flowers and your love, because I would be nothing without Black women. Black women are literally who changed and shaped my life. And I love you all. Also, I just want to take a quick moment to say rest in peace to Oluwatoyin Salau, who was a Black Lives Matter activist who was strangled. She was 19 years old, and she was out here once again advocating for Black men. And sadly, she was killed by a Black man. And that's a whole nother conversation for a later time, but rest in peace. Thank you for your representation. Thank you for your fight. And I wish your life wasn't cut so short so soon. And like 19 years old is no age to die. And we just have to do better by our Black women, y'all. So if you see a Black woman, love on her, tell her thank you, appreciate her. We have to be more respectful and tend to them. Their lives matter a lot. A lot. They can't disappear because they're the ones who are fighting. All right, y'all. Talk to you soon. Peace out.